Hi, Flosstube! Happy Wednesday! I can't believe it's been another week since I last talked to everybody. Really flew by. It was Memorial Day weekend this past weekend here in the US, which I think is why it feels like Wednesday came again really quick because we had a long weekend, which was fantastic. Ours was very, very laid back. We didn't really have much going on. Rare thing to not have a whole bunch of dance and other commitments. So we just got some stuff done around the house. No alarm clock. That's always amazing. Played some games and used the fire pit for the first time. So I hope you guys had a fantastic weekend. I'm Two Martinis Stitcher. Also Erin. I'm just Erin. And we've had some I'm so excited. I don't have that many subscribers, but some people are actually subscribing, which just makes me so happy. Because I just feel like this is, I just love Flosstube and I watch you guys all the time, all the other Flosstubers all the time. And so if you're watching and you have a Flosstube channel, let me know in the comments because I'd love to come and check you out and add you to my list of people that I watch all the time. And yeah, this is just so fun. I'm so glad that a few people have decided to join and come along on this crazy little cross stitch ride with me, my current obsession. So, see anything else exciting going on? Life update wise? I don't think so. This weekend on Friday, I'm going back to Portland. Unfortunately, not long enough to go back to Acorns and Threads because it's going to be just a real quick trip. I'm taking my middle daughter. Her and some friends bought tickets to see Billie Eilish. It was a big thing a few months ago because I was the one who got on while they were all at school to get tickets. It was seriously stressful because I knew that they wanted to go so badly. She's going to be here for a concert on Sunday, but my middle is performing in a show on Sunday. So she couldn't go Sunday. She was devastated when the tour schedule came out. And so I saw that she was going to be in Portland on Friday, and I don't know, had a weak moment that I offered to take her and some friends down to Portland for the Billie Eilish concert. She had to buy her own. They all bought their own tickets. I just said I would drive them down there. I don't know. I must have been going for Mother of the Year that day. Who knows? Get me a trophy. I win. So that's kind of what, that's about all. It's just been regular. It's end of year craziness. So, lots of busy stuff with school and still lots of dance stuff the next couple weeks. I was looking at the calendar because it is Wednesday. I should have said that at the beginning. It's Wednesday, May 29th, which means it's June this weekend. And we're 3 weeks out from my oldest daughter's graduation. Just kind of stressing me out. I mean, it's fine. But I have family coming into town and she's graduating. It's kind of crazy. She's my oldest, so she's the first one to kind of take off. She's the first one we're pushing out of the nest. So anyhow, but let's talk about stitching because we're here to talk about stitching. So I am going to show you guys what I worked on this past week. And I was looking at my little calendar. I think I showed you guys last week that I just every day I write down what I worked on. I'll probably get something fancier at some point, but for now this will do. I worked on a lot of different projects. So you're going to see some WIPs. No finishes. Oh, so I decided that I would show you guys the finish that I have had this month because I haven't had one since. But I finished this the first week. And this is the first thing I've stitched for myself that I'm keeping. So I'm going to show you. It says, choose your hard, which was I've taken this as my kind of personal motto for the year, is that we get to choose, everybody has hard stuff, and we sometimes get to choose our hard. Because I've been working on some health and fitness and weight loss stuff which isn't that interesting, so we won't talk about it. But so sometimes it feels like giving something up is hard, but other things are harder. And a lot of people are going through hard things. So this was my motto, choose your hard. And I finished this, but I haven't figured out how to like finish it to hang it up. I don't know what I want to do with it. I'd originally just like joked. It came about because a friend of mine said, oh, I love that saying, I'm going to steal it. And I said, yeah, I should stitch it on a pillow. But I don't think I really want it as a pillow, but I don't know. I don't know what this fabric is because that was before I kept track. It's a 16 count Ada, but so it's not something, but it's really soft. Like, I don't know if you guys can see, you know how like Ada a lot of times is really like stiff. This isn't. It's really soft, but it also frays pretty easily. But I kind of like this frayed look. So I was thinking maybe I would just cut it in a closer square, like really straight, like actually straight, and then intentionally fray the edge. Because I think that kind of works cool with the saying, choose your hard. Because it's, you know, life isn't perfect. But then I don't know whether to just put it in a floating frame or I don't know. If you have good suggestions, I'm open to figuring out how to finish this and kind of leave the frayed edge look. Because I'd like to put this by my desk in my like office. It's not really an office, but that's where I'd like to put that. So that's the only thing I finished this month, but I've worked on a ton of stuff. I figured out, I counted them up because I was starting to feel like it was getting to be too many WIPs. Like I've gone from working on like 1 or 2 things to I now have 13 and like my big Harry Potter cover, like multi-year project. So I have one big multi-year project. I did buy a Hade pattern for Mother's Day, but I don't know. I don't know that I can have 2 huge projects going at a time. But I bought it because they were having a sale. And I knew that one day I wanted to stitch it. So I have 13 kind of like normal size projects going. And then my one huge project. And it's starting to feel like a lot, like I'm not getting to, like they're not all getting enough of my attention. So I think I want to finish some things, and I have a couple things that will absolutely be finished this week before I start a bunch of new stuff. I don't know. I'm feeling like I might be near my WIP limit at 14. I know last week I said I'd have 20. I said that. It's starting to feel like a lot. And I know that people have a ton more, and I know some people stitch, and it's just what you're comfortable with, but I think I'm finding it. So I'm going to show you guys what I worked on this week, and then I have some haul because I can't, as much as I say, I don't want to have all these projects going, I can't seem to stop buying patterns. I can't because I have this haul. I have another order from 123 Stitch on the way. And then maybe that'll be it for a little bit, but that could be a total lie too. I don't know. I feel like I'm playing catch up. I heard Javagirl Stitches, whose name her actual name. I just know y'all by your Flosstubes. She had said this week that she feels like she's playing catch up. And, so like a lot of these patterns, like you guys have seen them, they're not new. But I kind of feel that way too. Like I've just found this whole big world. And so I'm playing catch up, and I'm going to be buying all the things, I think, for a little bit, just for a little bit. I might have to stop eventually, but for now I'm playing a little catch up. So do WIPs, do some haul, tell you what my plans are. That's it. That's what we're going to do. So let's get started. Okay. So when I saw you guys last week, I had finished all of Magical Stitches homework for last week, and I was going to be starting that evening an extra credit project, Text Your Mom. And I did. I started that, and it's this one here. This is the pattern. Texture Mom. And I also said last week, I really don't know. I couldn't math, apparently. I said I wasn't sure that this was going to have 1,000 stitches in it because I was planning on using it for 2 different extra credit projects for Magical Stitches. I apparently can't math. It's going to have more than enough. It actually will have like almost 2,000 stitches. So I don't know what I was thinking. But I put the first 500 in it last week. And so this is how far I got. I got the words and I started to get this little top flower in. And then, so I am going to use this for another extra credit. But for now, that's where it is. Texture Mom, and this is going to be a pillow. I am going to finish this into a pillow for my daughter, my oldest one that's graduating, for her dorm room. And she doesn't start until September, so I have some time, but you know, sooner rather than later would probably be good. So that was the first thing I worked on. And then when I was done working on that the first night, I think I put in like 300 stitches the very first night. I still wanted to do a little bit of stitching. I think I had maybe gotten to just a good stopping point on that, but I still wanted to do a little bit of stitching. So I started another new project. It's just been like my mania plans, because I didn't learn about mania until the very end of April, was just to have 5 new starts. Because I thought, oh, that's 1 a week, and that seems like a normal amount of starting. I've already started way more than 5. And I'm going to have probably 1 more before the end of May. We'll see. There's more just in the last week. So I had gotten there's no it's a stitch along. It's the Caterpillar Cross Stitch Hello Pumpkin Fall Stitch Along, which I've never done before. I just thought it'd be fun, and I love fall. It's my favorite, and I don't have a lot of fall stuff. So I am doing this. Here's the color palette though. Isn't that pretty? Look at how fun those colors are. Like, they're not some of them are like the oranges and reds, and whatnot, but there's also some like blue and pink and teal. It's a really fun color palette for fall. So, and I'm just doing this on 18 count white Aida that I had on hand, because that's the only fabric I have on hand. And I didn't get very far because I only started it that night. But it's going to be a little tree with some pumpkins and a mushroom and some grass, and that's the first part. I think these come out on the 15th, 18th? I don't know. I had forgotten, honestly, I had forgotten that I had bought it until it showed up in my email. And then I was like, oh yeah, I'm doing that. So, but I really want to get back to this because I worked on this last Wednesday. Last Wednesday? Yeah. I haven't touched it since. And I kind of want to get back to it. So, it'd be nice to have the first part done before the next part comes out, don't you think? That's kind of how they're supposed to work, right? I don't know. But at least I got a start on it. So at least I feel like if I hadn't started it when the second part came out, I think that would give me a little bit of like, oh, I better get going. So at least I have stitches in it, and it started even though it's not a big start. And then I've continued working on praying hands for my grandmother. I forgot to grab the magazine that shows it, but I've showed it the past 2 times. And I had originally said I was planning on doing 100 stitches a day in that. And it's been the first thing I stitch on every day. I work on this first, but it doesn't fit for Magical Stitches homework this week. No, I lied. It does. I've already done it. But if I don't need to count stitches, I find I don't want to. So what I've been doing instead is putting a minimum of 2 lengths of thread in it. Usually 3, but 2 should be 100 or a little bit more for me. And then somewhere over the weekend, I started feeling like I'm not getting anywhere on this. I was feeling like I'm not going to get done in time. And I need to pick up the pace. So I've tried the past few days to kind of pick up the pace on this, and now I feel like I'm getting somewhere a little bit. So this is where I am now. I think the thing with this project is it goes at this weird diagonal. Like, I don't know if you like the design, it goes like this. And then there's all this like if you were to put it in a square frame, there'd be all this negative space up here. And so I just didn't have a good plan of attack. Like, I started in the center because I wasn't sure how much border I had. I mean, I could have done the math and figured it out, but I just started in the center. But I don't know. I just feel like I haven't had a good starting point. I was kind of going cross country for a while, but all the colors are really similar. And then I tried to do like square blocks, but it's not completely full coverage. So, but I finally feel like I'm making progress. So I did a lot more work over here, and this is this edge of the pattern. Like, so that's the end here. This is the end down here. And I'm super close, like 1 or 2 stitches, over here. 1 or 2 stitches here is this edge. There's some more to put in down here. So I am getting there. And I've fallen in love with the even weave, and I even, you'll see, started something on linen this week. This is 28 count. I think that my love is going to be maybe a 32, because in general I like stitching on a 16 count Aida. So I think 32 might be where my sweet spot is, but I like working over 2. I've been doing the sewing method that we talked about. I'm getting better at it. It's great for stitching in hand. And yeah, definitely. I don't have a stash of fabric really. I have some Aida, but that's it. And I'm starting to feel like I would like to have a stash of fabric, but I don't really want to buy a whole bunch until I'm sure what count and type of fabric I really, really like. So I don't know. Fabric suggestions. How do you build a stash of fabric? I mean, obviously buy a bunch of fabric, but fabric subscriptions, which ones do you like? Because I'd like to maybe try out some different kinds of fabric to figure out exactly what I love. And I'd like to have a little stash. There you go. So that I worked on every day, and I'm making some good progress, and I'm hoping it'll be done. No matter what it takes. It will be done before I go to visit my grandmother in July, and it will go with me. So I've just been plugging away on that. And then it did fit for a Magical Stitches homework this week. So last week when I saw you, I'd already done all my homework for last week. This week I'm almost done. I have one more section to go. So this week we had to take, our projects had to match the letters in the word SPEW, which is the Society for Protection of Elvish Welfare, Hermione's social justice cause. So P, so it's, you had to have a project with S, P, E, and W. So Praying Hands Fit P, that one's already done. And then for E, I worked on this project. I think, there's no picture in there, but I have one in my phone that I think I showed 2 times ago. Here it is. So it's from the Etsy shop, 1,000 Tiny X's, and it's this one. Welcome, Everything is Fine. But the name of the pattern is Everything is Fine. For E, And it's the sign from The Good Place. If you don't watch that, then you don't get the joke, but I think it's hysterical. And it's going to be a welcome sign in our front foyer. So I added the E and part of the W for 200 stitches for E. And I hadn't touched this one for a little while. And so that was nice. And it's also a nice easy stitch because it's all the same color. So you don't have to change color. I can definitely do that while watching TV or Flosstube. I watch a lot of Flosstube while stitching. Love seeing what all you guys are doing. I watch Flosstube and I stitch. And then I put more stuff on my wish list. And I stitch and I put more patterns on my wish list. It just keeps growing. So, and then what else did I work on? Oh, I worked on also I should probably finish with homework. Okay, so then W was, I didn't have a project for W. And I thought, well, I don't have anything. I don't want to buy anything. Like there isn't time to really buy anything unless I bought something off of Etsy. But I didn't want to buy something just to start because it started with W. And so then I thought, well, because there were some on my wish list, there are a couple things from With Thy Needle and Thread. I've actually since I think even ordered them, at least one. And so I thought someone had asked in like my common room, like, does anybody know of any good freebies? They were looking for E's. But then I thought, well, I'm just going to check and see if, as I was like searching up patterns for With Thy Needle and Thread, the Googles showed me that they had a free pattern on their blog. I think it was from May, like 2 years ago, because their blog doesn't look like it has been updated in maybe a year, but it's still out there. And they had a free pattern on it. I thought, well, if I can use a free pattern and I can use fabric that I have on hand and maybe even floss I have on hand, then I don't mind starting something. I didn't want to buy something just because it was a W. So I don't know. It's just the pattern, but I don't know if I guess it's free out on the web. So it's okay to show. I don't know. You guys tell me if that's not okay. I will link in the comment box below. I'll link you to the free pattern. It's really cute. It's called May Sampler. And see, it's a little basket and flowers. And I'll just show you real quick. Little basket and flowers and birds and an alphabet. And it's super cute. It's super cute. But all I have on hand, I thought all I had on hand was white Aida. And so since I had time over the weekend, I thought I would take a I'd take a crack at doing some coffee tea dyeing of some white Aida I have. And look how nice it came out. It came out really well. I just followed Priscilla and Chelsea's, they have a tutorial on how they coffee tea dye theirs. And it's from like a couple years ago, but I assume it's still how they did it. And I just followed that. I'll link that little tutorial below, the one I followed. And I literally followed it exactly how they did. And it came out, I think, real nice. Like, I'm really happy with this. Now, you'll notice there's no stitches in it. Because then, as I was putting that away and going through some other stuff, I found a friend of mine was cleaning out her house and came across a couple needlework things that she had. I don't know if they were hers. And she was like, hey, I'm not going to use these. I'm going to give them to you. It was like some 14 count white Aida and some off-brand floss that the girls actually ended up taking to make friendship bracelets with. Talking. But she also had some linen. Like, it's real. It says on it, it clearly came from like Joann's or Michael's or something, because it's a Charles Craft DMC. Like, it has DMC label on it. It says it's Irish linen. That doesn't mean anything to me. Does that mean anything to you guys? They said it's Irish. It says that it's Irish linen, tea dyed is the color, but it's like real legit linen. It is an even weave. Like it's the same number both ways because I checked on that, but it's real linen. Like there's little slubs in it. I've even stitched over them already. So I decided that that would look a little nicer just for that pattern because it is kind of a little more like kind of rustic looking. Oh, I'm showing you guys my back. So I started that. So it's a with thy needle and thread Freebie May sampler. And I did a little more than 200 stitches, started on the border. And this was really fun because I totally could have used floss in my stash. And this would have been like totally like fabric on hand, Freebie pattern, floss in my stash. Start. I could have done that. I didn't do that. Someone had commented in my last video when I had said, I was talking about my trip to Acorns and Threads. And I said that I was really sad that there wasn't a needlework store like that, or that I didn't have an LNS that was that fantastic or near me. And someone commented that there is a shop, a cross stitch shop called Thread Needle Street. And it really, I don't know how I missed it. It really is. It's right near me. It's like 20 minutes. We'll say 20 minutes. With traffic, it can be more, but like 20 minutes from my house. I had to go check it out. I had to go see what they had. And it's nice. It's not nearly the size. It's small. They have a ton of Mirabilia patterns. Like if you're into Mirabilia, Thread Needle Street. They have so many. And lots of shepherd bush kits. And they have a nice little selection of other patterns, mostly Mirabilia and shepherd's bush. But they have a really fantastic fancy floss selection. So I decided I would choose colors because there wasn't a key. So there was no color key, no suggested colors on the Freebie pattern other than like it was a colored pattern, right? Like, so I picked up, this is my first stitching with fancy floss. Ta-da! I bought some other ones, but I haven't stitched with them yet. So this is the first one. So this are the ones that I picked. What do we think? Did I do an okay job? I got 2 of this one because I live in constant fear of running out of floss. And since it's like the whole border and the flowers are going to be done in this, I got 2 because you never want to run out. So how'd I do? What do you guys think? I was a little concerned that this is going to be the basket color. It's Shabby Sheep, Classic Colorworks Shabby Sheep. I was worried that it was going to blend into the linen, but I think it's going to be okay because I'm going to do the basket in this, the Shabby Sheep. And then I'm going to do, there's a key on it, and I'm going to do that and some of the alphabet and the handle of the basket in this darker gray, which is Weeks Dye Works Porpoise. So I figure if the basket kind of blends into the linen, I can maybe just back stitch it with the darker gray. So, and then I got Classic Colorworks Secret Garden for the leaves, and Weeks Dye Works Whiskey for the little bird beaks and some of the alphabet. I got Classic Colorworks Really Tealy for the birds, little blue birds, because I figured it's May sampler. And I don't have really anything. I've never kept a cross stitch, so I don't know why I say I don't have anything of this, because I don't have any of my own cross stitch. So, but it is spring and summer, and I thought if I can get this done, then I could put it out and it'd be really cute. So that's going to be the little birds, and then this for the border and the flowers. So I'm very excited because look at me stitching with fancy floss. Now I do have to say this sunset is beautiful. I did not sure that I picked, this one's a little variegated, the green. I don't know if you can really see there. There we go. You can kind of see it. And then the teal is a little bit, you can kind of see it goes lighter to darker. The sunset is not very much. And so I'm going to have to say, I feel like I could have done that in DMC. I could have, but it's very pretty. And I've been sitting sewing over to, like, look at that. I even stitched over a little slub and didn't mess up. I'm very proud of myself. So I really like it. And this is 28 is what it said. It's 28 count Irish linen tea-dyed that a friend gave me. So, but I like it. I think that's it. I think I'm going to be an even weave linen girl. I mean, I still like 8 out. I'll happily stitch on it, especially if I think the project is, you know, kind of would be better on it. I'm all for that. So that's W. That was a long trip around the barn to get to that is the W. So praying hands, everything is fine with thy needle and thread freebie sampler. And then S is going to be a new start for me today. And it was a planned start. It was a planned new start for Mania. It was one of the 5 that I had planned to start, regardless of whether it fit for Magical Stitches or not. And it happens to fit. I'll just show it to you now, even though I haven't started it. And I'm technically on WIP parade. I have trouble focusing. Have you noticed? I even like did a little, look this, a little outline. Can't seem to stick to it. Are you guys following my train of thought? Bless you. So S is Silver Creek Samplers, my Christmas list. And I kitted this all up probably a month ago. Yeah, it would have been a month ago because it was the end of April and I already had the pattern and the fabric. And so I just kitted up all the flosses. I'm using all the called for DMC. Just DMC floss. And then I had bought this fabric for it, which I'm going to use for sure. It is a 16 count Ada in Ren by Picture This Plus. And so I bought this, I ordered the pattern and the fabric probably about 6 weeks ago. And then I kitted it all up with the floss at the end of last month. And this is where I kind of feel like I wish I had a fabric stash, because now that I'm looking at it, I think, well, one, now I've been stitching on even weave and even taking a stab at linen. I kind of wish it was an even weave. And I almost wish, this is really pretty. I really like it. And I think it's going to be, I'm going to use it. I think it's going to come out fantastic on it. But I kind of wish it was a little like smokier, like a fog or some kind of like more of a gray background than this. That's pretty true, what it looks like. And so I feel like if I had a fabric stash, I would just switch it out. But I don't have fabric stash. I've just been buying fabric for projects that I think I'm going to start soon-ish. And so I think it's time to start building a fabric stash. But I'm going to start that tonight. So that's getting started tonight and will be the last of my Magical Stitches homework. So that's homework for this week. Last week I also worked on, Texture Mom as extra credit. And then I also worked on my friend's collage for extra credit. And I had shown you guys last week and I had told you that my plan was to stitch these 2 lobsters for something you would find in the Black Lake, but that I wasn't positive that there would be 500 stitches in the lobsters. So I did 1 lobster to start, and here he is. Isn't he adorable? Look how cute he is. All that back stitching. He's cute. So you'll see there's no second lobster, and that's because he came up short. I needed him to be 250 so that the two of them together would be 500, but he only came out to 235. So, oh well. I was also planning on using this for a project with eyes. Lobsters have eyes. I don't know, you can see my like tiny little French knots. I'm not the best French knotter in the world, and this called for doing it with one thread. But I think if they were really big, then he'd look really weird. He'd like be a googly-eyed lobster. So I left it with one thread. Anyway, so when I was done with him and knew he was short, I went back to working on the frame for the rest of the 500 stitches. Because it was bugging me that was going to be left not completely finished. I'd like to, ideally, as I'm working on this, do like completely finish each little kind of motif at a time, backstitching it all. Because there's a lot of backstitching. I don't want to leave it all for the end. So when I finished the lobster and he came up short, I finished out the yellow of the frame and backstitched it. It's so cute. I love it. I love it so much. And I watched Friends the whole time I was working on it. So, yeah. So there's that. So I worked on that. And then the other couple things I worked on that didn't really fit in with anything, but they're tiny little projects. And so I would work on them when maybe I finished a homework or extra credit and I still wanted to stitch a little bit more, but I didn't want to start in on like another 200 or 500 stitches. I worked on, I'm missing one. I'm gonna go get it. Hang on. I'm back. And you got a nice shot of the murder wall. I'm back in front of the murder wall. Someone said they liked it. And honestly, the light's a little more even in here. So I'm back in front of the murder wall. Okay, so the two small things I worked on, one I had showed you last week, and it's the one that's from this Improper Cross Stitch book that I'm doing for my daughter's dance teacher. I'm looking for something to cover up the pattern because it's on the adjacent page. So I can show you what it's going to look like. So this is what it looks like. You can see my math. It's called Wine and Cats. Cats and Wine. Cats and Wine. And that's the one that I'm going to do. I'm hoping to finish as like a little tag or a little hanging pillow or something, and put it around a wine bottle for my daughter's dance teacher. And last week I just had like a little tiny bit of the gray cat done, and I finished him and the orange cat. And this is actually the wine that's in the wine glasses and the wine bottle labels. So, and this is just a little scrap of 16 count Aida that I had. And they're almost done. Next time I sit down and work on it, all I have to do is do the green of the bottles and a little bit of back stitch to make the glasses, and it'll be done. There's hardly anything left, really. So this will be a finish next week. I'm hoping to totally finish it, to fully finish it. I bought fabric to put on the back side of it. I bought some fabric. That's what I'm saying, to do the finish. So I worked on that a little bit. Now the pattern calls for little black French knots for eyes. I used to be pretty good at French knots. My daughter's Christmas stockings have a lot of French knots, but the last couple times I've attempted them, they didn't come out. I'll have to rewatch some tutorials. It's not really that hard. You stick it in, wind it around, stick it back. And I know not to stick it in the same hole or you pull it through. I don't know why they haven't been coming out great, but I thought to myself, I've seen people talk in cross-stitchy groups and places that some people say they use beads instead of French knots because they hate French knots. I like that idea. Cats and Wine is in my, seriously, favorite bag. So much to love. I think I bought another one of her bags yesterday or the day before. Beads. So this is the other project that I've been working on because it has beads. And it's this little Mill Hill magnet kit, Taboo Kitty. And I've been working on this because I thought to myself, I wonder if they give you more beads than you need. You know, like assuming that you're going to lose some. And there's black beads in here. The answer is yes. If anyone is wondering that same question, yes, you do have more beads than you need. And so I thought, well, if there were a couple leftover black beads, maybe I would use the leftover black beads as the little kitty's eyes. That's my plan. So anyway, last time I showed you, I wasn't done with the stitching part yet, but I worked on it here and there to get to the beading part. And this is where I am now. I'm actually really close to being done. All of these jet black beads are on. All the orange beads are on. All the back stitching is done. I just need to finish off. You can see these little tiny seed beads, black seed beads. There's a bunch more of those to go on there. So I need to finish that up and then this will be done. So I predict that this and the Cats and Wine will be done when I see you next week. And I am going to work really, really, like my goal is to have them fully finished. Both of them. Boom. It's out there. So now I have to do it. And then that would be two things that I had finished. I'm starting the Silver Creek sampler, my Christmas list. So that's going to replace one of the finishes. But then that would give me space to maybe start something else new. And I know what I want to start. So finishing is what I'm doing. But they do, like these are all, like I ended up with this many extra of the jet and orange beads. So I assume you guys just hold on to these, right? Like I may use them for something else. I mean, no reason not to keep them, correct? And then my other question for all of you who have done beading then is like, what do you put them in while you're putting the beads on? Because fishing them out one by one, these are the little tiny black seed beads. I don't mind the beading. I know some people hate beading. I think it's kind of fun. It's pretty satisfying, to be honest. But fishing them out of here one by one isn't really working for me. And I hesitate to dump them out onto a plate or something. Any tips and tricks on what do you do with your beads? Where do you keep them next to you while you're putting them on your project? That is the question. There's got to be a better way than what I'm doing, which is I have the little baggie on my lap and I'm fishing them out of the bag one by one. It's not terribly efficient. There's got to be a better way. I'm going to come up with a better way, or you all very, very smart, beautiful people in Flosstube land are going to tell me how you do that. So let me see. Is that everything I worked on? That is everything. That's it. It's the end of my WIPs. I told you I worked on a lot of different projects this week. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different projects. Is that right? 8? Seems like a lot. 8 different projects this past week. So, plans for this coming week. So I am going to definitely do 200 stitches tonight in the Silver Creek samplers. And so that will finish out this week's homework for Magical Stitches. And then I am going to finish Taboo Kitty Wine and Cats and Wine. I'm going to finish those for sure. I'm going to keep working every day on Praying Hands. Still going to be the first thing I do when I sit down to stitch is that project gets at least 2 or 3 strands a day. Got to keep working on that. And so then I'm going to go back to extra credit. So I think I want to do another 500. My plans are to do another 500 stitches in Texture Mom. And if I get that done, then I have another new start planned for May, June extra credit. And it's going to be that Quaker Geometric Puzzle, the Ink Circles one that I showed you guys last week that I bought at Acorns and Threads. I'm itching to start that. I really want to start that. So that's going to be the next new start. But I have some work to do to earn it. Do any of you guys do that too? Like you have to earn that? Like nobody, I could totally start that tomorrow. Nobody's going to punish me. It's all up to me. But yet I play these little games in my head. So that brings me to haul. I got in a order from 123 Stitch. There, I keep my wish list on there because it's easy then to go. Like I even like pulled it up when I was at Acorns and Threads to kind of focus me on what I wanted. They have a very dangerous little option on there. So if there's a pattern that you want that's out of stock, you can get an email notification and they'll tell you when it comes back in stock. And so I would occasionally get email notifications, and then when I would get around to like going and looking in the next day or two, it'd be out of stock again. Like some things just come and go like fast. And it says that, like they send you the email and say, don't hesitate because we don't get a lot. And usually it's fine. I'm like, okay, well, just sign me up for another notification. It just stays on my wish list. My wish list is like 1,000,000 miles long anyway. I'm not, gonna live or die if I get a pattern right away. But there was one that kept popping in and out and I couldn't take it anymore. And so I got the notification that it was back in and I was like, well, that's it. I'm gonna go order it right now. And you guys have all seen it before, but I'm so excited to stitch this. Of course, I don't have anything else for it, but I have the pattern. And that's the first step. It means it will get stitched, right? And you guys have all seen this. Everybody knows this one, right? Plum Street Samplers Turkey Bay. But like, there's little turkeys in the water. I love this. I love it. I can't wait to stitch it. But this is what set off the entire order to start with. Was Plum Street Samplers Turkey Bay. And then the other one that I got a notification that same morning was this pattern. And I had missed it a couple times already. And so when both those notifications came at the same time, I was like, well, that's it. Kismet, I must place an order. So I also got this Rosewood Manor Crosses of the Kingdom. And this is one that I'm going to stitch for my parents. Like when I saw it, it screams them. It totally matches their decor of their house. This is Pat and Bill written all over it. So I'm going to do that for them. I don't know when I'll give it to them. Their 50th anniversary is coming up in a couple years. Both their anniversary, my parents and my in-laws got married within like 6 weeks of each other. So both of their 50th anniversaries are coming up in 3 years. And I've been kicking around in my head that I really want to stitch something for them. Like something kind of samplery. Because in my head, they've both lived several different places. Like in my head, I want to do some type of sampler that includes the latitude and longitude of like really important places to them. So like where they both met in college, where they raised their kids, where they're living now, like that in my head. I want to do that, but I don't have a pattern in mind. So if you guys have any suggestions, anniversary sampler pattern, hit me with all the suggestions. So that's one idea. However, this would also make a fantastic anniversary present for them. And I realize that's like 3 years away. So it might get stitched and given to them before then. I bought linen to go with it. I bought some 32 count antique white Belfast linen to do this on, because I just thought it would look so pretty just with that. It would just go with their house, just this kind of creamy. So I bought linen to do it. So that's how you know I'm serious about stitching it. I bought the pattern and I bought fabric. And I just went with, I really believe that this is going to be my like kind of go-to count. I bought linen. I think it called for linen. You know, like when it says, yes, it's the called for fabric, 32 count antique white linen. So I'm sure that's why I went with that instead of an even weave. And I just think it'll be beautiful on that. And it's DMC 310. The only thing with this pattern is it calls for this gold. All of this gold, it calls for light effects, DMC light effects thread. I've only used it once. I didn't love it. And I know like you use shorter strands and whatnot. But I don't know. I haven't loved it, and I've never used Krynic. I hear talk of Petite Treasure braid. I think I want to try a few of those before I commit to what I'm going to do all the gold on, because I do think sparkly gold would be the way to go in this. I just need to figure out what kind of sparkly gold thread I can do that much stitching in on linen. I don't know. I'm not starting it anytime soon, but that Turkey Bay set off the order. And since I was ordering, I had to throw a few more things. I kind of perused my wish list to see what else was on there that I really wanted to start stitching soon, and or was on sale. So I also got Cricut Collection Playing with Jacks. I just love this. Autumn's my favorite. It is my favorite, you guys. And I'm going to do the alternate fall pumpkin instead of the jack-o'-lantern, so it can just be out all fall. Like I can put it out in September. It can be out September, October, November. So I don't know. I'd like to start this soon, but I didn't buy any fabric for it. I don't know what fabric I'm going to use. I do on the alternate fall pumpkin, it calls for, everything else is DMC. Yep. But it calls for a silken colors, like silk, like highly variegated autumn silk. And I do think I want to get that too. So I don't know. So we'll figure out fabric. That's probably not going to be done for this fall. Maybe I'll be working on it in fall. That'd be fun too, right? So I got that. And then I got these two, which I know you guys have seen, but I love these. These two by Hands On Designs. And there's 3 in the set, and they're like the laundry company. There's 3 of them. I think I only have room for 2 in my laundry room. So I went with the 2 that I thought were the funniest. And so I got Self-Service Loads of Fun, because my laundry room is in fact self-service. Mama doesn't do your laundry. All the kids do their own laundry. I taught them when they were little. I think they were like 11, 12. The youngest was like 10. I was like, you can get up on your toes and dump stuff in there. So my laundry is self-service laundry. So I got that one. I thought that was funny. And then I got this one, Irony the opposite of wrinkly. Because that's punny. That's just punny. I love puns. Irony, the opposite of wrinkly. Also because I notoriously do not iron. Are you sensing a theme here? I don't do laundry and I don't iron. My husband's a big ironer. He knew when we got married that I would not iron his clothes. So he does them. So I got those two and I got, I think it calls for, it calls for 32 count white Belfast linen. And so I got two more smaller pieces of, they look different colors on the thing. They're really not, they're the same. There they are. They're white. It's white linen. Isn't that exciting? It's not very exciting, but it's going to look great. And then while I was at Thread Street Needle getting those other fancy flosses, I picked up the DMC for that. So it's all ready to go. So these are going to get started very soon. After the geometric puzzle, I think these will probably be the next start just because, I don't know. I think it'd just be really fun to hang them in my laundry room. Maybe on like a washboard. I don't know. Look at me. Keeping things that I stitch for myself and big ol' fancy finishing plans. And so then I only have one last piece of haul. If I can find, oh, here it is. This I love. I'm so excited. Look at this project bag, guys. Look at it. This is a bag from Garon Toten Bags. And it is their big one. It's 12 by 18. I had seen this on the size of bag on Stitchy Shannon's Flosstube. And she had showed it and she had like a big project in it. And I was like, that's what I need because my big Harry Potter covers project didn't fit in anything. And so all the pieces were just kind of out. And look at this. Check it out, guys. I'm going to hold it up so maybe you can see. Look at this. Look how big this is. So everything fits in here for it. I've got the pattern. So this is what it's doing. This is the big project. And I work on it this week. And that's where I kind of felt like, oh, maybe I have too many WIPs because I really want to stitch on this too. When Praying Hands is done, this is going to be my daily stitch. So as soon as Praying Hands is done for my grandmother, this piece is going to be my put 100 stitches in. But so I've got it in an 8 by 11 Q-snap with like a whole, like all the extra fabric rolled up. And that fits in there. And the full floss box fits in there. And my extra bag. Like these are all the extra skeins that I need for it. Everything fits in this bag. And it's beautiful. So I had to, of course, get Harry Potter fabric. So they sell their bags through their Facebook group and they go fast. Like I'd been in the group for a couple weeks and they hadn't posted any bags and then they did and they went. Like set your notifications. But they're totally worth it. Like it's beautifully stitched and I hadn't seen any bags this size. So that would fit this and it's fantastic. And then they also do grime guards. So I picked up a few grime guards as well. Oh, I had actually shown them before. So I had gotten this one. This is from them as well. And it's an 11 by 11, but I put it on my 8. This is the other half of those Q-snaps. So it's a 8 by 8 set and 11 by 11 set that I put together to do, because 11 by 11 is too much for me. I usually stitch in hand, to be honest, although I do have some Q-snaps and I'm not hating them. But so I got that grime guard and then I got 2 8 by 8 ones. I don't know what I did with them. I didn't bring them over. So that's the end of my haul, but I love this so much. I love this so much. I love the fabric. I love how big it is. And I love that it's all kind of protected and together. It's all together now instead of just sitting out. And look how beautifully, like, look at this. Like, they line up the fabric even. See, look how beautifully that lines up. That takes some, like, that takes some skill and patience and measuring. But I don't have any of that, so I'm impressed by it. So I think that's it, guys. That's all I got. Thanks for hanging out with me and letting me show you all my fun stuff, because you're the only ones who find it exciting. My kids think I'm crazy. My husband's like, whatever, hun, whatever makes you happy, but he didn't get excited about any of this stuff. So it's so, I love knowing that you guys are out there and actually care and well over all my stuff. So that's it for me this week. But I'll be back next week with hopefully some finishes. And I know I have at least one more package coming for 123 Stitch, so there'll be some more haul. And hopefully I'll make some really good progress on some things. And that's it. That's all I got. If you guys watch, I'd love for you to subscribe and come along. And if you have a Flosstube, let me know what it is, because I watch them. I watch them while I'm getting ready for the day and while I'm stitching. And I just love seeing what everybody else is up to and all of your amazing projects and stitching, and nice knowing my friends, seeing what my friends are up to. So until then, until I see you guys next week, cheers.